Okay, we're all set.
Okay, very good. We'll call to order the Franklin County Economic Development Corporation meeting. The roll call is the same as the IDA meeting. And we will entertain a motion to accept the agenda.
I'll make a motion to accept the agenda.
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Any public comments? Great. If not, we will entertain a motion to approve the minutes from April 20th, 2022.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
Okay. Do a second?
Second.
Seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. Any bills and communications? Doesn't look that way. Any committee reports?
Let me, if I could, for economic development, just mention that we did have a meeting after the last, which was very good. We are focusing on the business parks, and the committee has said that it would like to get to know more about them. What's there, what infrastructure may be in place, what development has occurred, what's left to be developed, and we had an excellent presentation by Russ on the 3 business parks that we have, and that was all done because the next step will be to actually take a tour around so we can physically see these, and we're going to try to hook up with some realtors that have been involved in the past. So as we kind of form our view of what the future could be for each of those parks, we'd like to be informed by others who have marketed these and had some experience on both sides of the border with potential users. So, you know, we'll be talking more about this as time goes by, and if there are other people beyond the committee, once we form up a day for a tour, if anyone else on the board wants to join us, we'll certainly make that opportunity available too. Okay.
Thank you. I think that's a great idea. I would definitely be interested, and I think it'd be, if possible, I think it'd be great to do some other tours this summer, like some of the large farms that are making big changes environmentally and agriculturally, and even some other. I think it would be good for us, you know, as we're moving through this year as an agency with the changes we've been through to show our faces and, you know, get out and about a little bit. So thank you for bringing that up, Steve.
You're welcome.
Okay, any other committee reports? We'll move on to the treasurer's report.
First, I'll mention that things are settling out after we remitted tourism payments back to the county, and you can see that we have our total assets at $2.8 million. This is largely as a result of cash in the bank, but also account receivables from our loan fund. I would point out in the next, the profit and loss, the budget document, you'll start to, you're gonna start to see more activity in grants related expenses and income. So last month we had an update from Rachel on our community development projects. And because of all the work that's been going on with her and our consultants and actual construction work, we're starting to get to issuing payments. We're starting to get reimbursements coming in. And so at long last, we're gonna see more activity both on the income side from getting reimbursed and on making these grants to the applicants now that projects are starting to get moving. So I just wanted to, we have a little bit of that in this, in April, and we're gonna start seeing more of it. And that is my report.
I think it's Archie.
Oh,
From the hotel? Hotel music?
yeah.
We're enjoying your music, whoever is sharing it with us.
It's very soothing, right? It's supposed to affect everybody.
Those soft chairs, you should be sleeping. Go ahead, Steve.
To the point that you fall asleep. I wonder if it's not in the room. It's probably just down here.
Oh, maybe it's the shut the door.
Yeah, sorry. Thanks for pointing that out. We think we can take care of that, unless you really want to hear it. It's funny.
All right, so thank you, Jeremy. Any other questions concerning the treasurer's report? Thoughts? All right, so entertain a motion to approve it.
Steve,
I'll second, Archie.
Second, Archie. Any other thoughts or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, so no old and unfinished business, so we will move on to new business. Concerning the communication plan review.
Okay, so this is something we've been wanting to give the board an update on for a little while. And so Kelly's here today to just give us a quick update on our marketing communications efforts. So I'm gonna make sure I can share my screen. Can you just tell me when to?
Okay. When to, oh,
Yeah. Just find the right tab. There.
Right. Well, thank you for having me at the board meeting. It's been a while since I've been in front of all of you, so it's nice to kind of touch base and get to walk you through what I've been up to. It's always hard to try to explain everything, not knowing where everybody is at as far as what they know or understand about what I'm talking about. So if I get to something and you don't know, just please stop me. But so just a brief overview. I want to keep scrolling along. So kind of just touching on the purpose of why we have, why I'm doing marketing and communications and why we put together a marketing and communications plan. Our organization does great work, and oftentimes it goes unnoticed or overlooked. So one of the purposes is to make sure that that doesn't happen, that we get the word out on what we're doing. And furthermore, it's to just, in general, generate economic growth, which is just the goal of why we're all here. So marketing is important in attracting businesses and the workforce. So our marketing plan will hit on attracting and retaining talent, attracting, retaining, and expanding businesses, improving the county's image both inside and outside of the county, and promoting FCEDC, our activities, programs, and services. And we found just even in the past year that even the name change to FCEDC still needs some work to let people know that that has happened, because it takes a while for that to catch on. People are still used to calling us the LDC, IDA, CDC. So just even getting that word out there. We've spent a great deal of time getting ready, getting our brand in place, as you all know, and also just developing the strategy. And we want to play up our assets, right? And we've gone through the whole branding process when we contracted with DCI, and just internally kind of doing some research and really getting to know all the details, our demographic, and just our base analysis of who we want to attract, who we are talking to, who our audience is, and what the need is for Franklin County. A great advantage that we have is with DCI, they provided us with almost a dozen topics. Here are 6 of them that we found that immediately we're going to start incorporating and using to market Franklin County, FCEDC, Adirondack Frontier, all of it. So it's in the middle of everywhere. Just that one, just to touch on briefly, I won't get into great detail with all of these because they're all like super interesting, but in the middle of everywhere, we found that, right, it's our location, and that even though it is remote and there's a lot of like land to kind of spin that it is such an advantage to us because, you can reach Montreal and Albany and other more metropolitan areas within a short distance. So kind of like taking what could be perceived as a negative and really putting more of a positive, beneficial spin on it. Something that Jeremy and I have been working on too is that, now that the organization has honed in on these 4 goals, it really does kind of fit neatly with what our strategies can be. And so making sure that we're aware also, big picture, what the goals are of the organization and how our marketing is impacting those goals specifically. So I spent quite a bit of time, I'm sure you all have too, in the past, reading through the SEDS and the Economic Development Strategic Analysis report or plan. Both of those were completed prior to my arrival here. I don't know, Jeremy, when those were done, but those are both really useful documents that have a lot of great information, and going through both of those and pulling out what was identified in the past as different desired actions and strategies for marketing. And so that's where these bullet points come from for each of the goals of what we want to target. And some things are happening currently, some things we're planning more of a broad plan about, but just wanted to just touch on these. And you can just scroll through maybe all of them too. They're and then at the last slide, I can get into more detail, but pretty much when you read through any of these, a lot of the common thread is to promote, enhance, attract, retain, all those like keywords that we want to do for, whether it's our downtowns or our resilient industries or whatever it may be. So we have those as that established. And so like, what's our tactics? How are we going to get that done? So for marketing, the the most key component that you can have is a website that's modern and can be a tool for businesses and people to use to kind of sell them on why they should look at this area. And so we have that. We have a great modern website that showcases the county's best assets. What we also want to do is to target our specific audience that we really know now and drive them to the website so they can find the information they need. And then use our social media to expand and engage with people and just be able to grow that. So that's sort of the big overview on things that, the big picture stuff. And then, so I guess to touch on some more, so what does that all mean? What does that look like? I mean, there's some things that are really more tangible that in talking with the staff, we decided to create a RAC card because we found there was a need for local municipalities, whether it's their community development department, their planning department, whatever, or just the general information. If someone was to walk in as like the first point of contact of wanting more information because they were thinking of relocating to this area, and just being able to identify the FCEDC and the services that we offer. So we've created that and have copies of that printed, and we're going to start distributing those to local municipalities and wherever else they might end up. But that's sort of step one. Just getting some more visual pieces out, like banners and as simple as pens and stickers, really just letting people know that we're here and this is a service that we provide is step one. We've been working on getting digital assets and photos and video of, just building up that repertoire. So we have that for ads and the website and social media moving forward. And so we have winter and fall, and we have the summer season planned that will be coming up ahead. We're also working on a video campaign that will be used individually, hitting on, finding a small business owner in Franklin County to talk to kind of, get that firsthand story of why they chose Franklin County and, the experience that they've had, and just, to reflect positively on that. So that will be a small business, a remote worker, an entrepreneur that maybe is in the forestry industry that has a tie-in to Paul Smith College that, is able to, have that education here and stay. And then we felt like biotech is something that we should hit on too as one of our key industries. And then, so, and we'll be able to use that individually to speak about the individual fit for Franklin County, but also together showing the breadth of what we offer and how we can appeal to different people. And it shows sort of like, and I think that the main idea of that is to tie it back to the location and the desire to be here, because, those are all things that could happen anywhere, but why did you choose Franklin County? So that's sort of the common thread with that one. I do also want to touch briefly that we have our first training. We're hosting the first training today at the VIC this evening. It's put up by DOS. Is it
Department of State.
Department of State. And it's a training for open, free, and to the public for planning and zoning, kind of just education on that. But it's great to be able to partner with an entity like DOS and be able to like help us provide a service, for the community, but also it helps us get our name out there, which is just another benefit of that. And a tie-in too is I wanted everyone to know that we're having a Cary networking, so the Cary co-working space is having scheduled events. And so we have one scheduled for next week. And that's entrepreneur success stories, where we have like a panel of different entrepreneurs that are going to share, again, why they decided to open a business in Franklin County, and all the good stuff that comes of that. And hopefully it's just a good night. And if, depending on the success of that one, it would be great to kind of take that model and just host that in other communities, because sometimes just that energy can be contagious, hearing of other success stories. Yeah, so I know that was a mouthful, but if there's any questions or anything I missed.
So we can see one, I'll back up, so you can see one of our, we got an updated, if you go into the office, we've got those really nice looking pull-up banner right at the doorway. But it's now dated with our brand, so we've got Kelly put together and got us our first updated version. And we'll have those to wherever we go somewhere and have some sort of event that we're sponsoring, or if anyone will let us, we'll try to take this and some of our rock cards and just to get the word out. So it looks really sharp and it's easy to carry around and open to use it a lot more. So I just wanted to mention that all of those goals, we went through them really quickly, but those are we made sure those were into our strategic plan that we reviewed last month and the month before. It's the same ones. Kelly just pulled out the ones that were related to marketing and communications. So we're trying to make sure all these things are aligned with each other. The 4 goals are the same. And the strategies are the same. It's just, she just narrowed down the ones specifically related to marketing and communications. And Russ has been doing a little bit of work. We've been doing a little bit of work on our business parks, because that's going to be one of our focuses this year as well. So a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, I don't know if the board has seen that yet, Russ, what you put together, but it was great to be able to like see a product come together using some of the drone imagery that we have now of the business parks, and using the brand to make it just look really sharp. And of course, all Russ's knowledge on just everything you'd want to know about a business park. So yeah, and we'll be able to put that on the website, but it's also, it's so much in the digital realm, but it is nice to be able to have these like banners and rack cards and a printed printout that you can give to people. Yeah, so just kind of trying to cover all the bases.
I have a question. Is there any statistics on like how many people hit the website, or is it like getting out there, or is there something else we can do?
Yeah, that's a great idea. I will put together like a little snapshot of the number of overall visitors to the website, but also the most trafficked web pages that we have. Yeah, it is very interesting to look at that and to get into just being able to map what people do once they land on the website and what page they go to next, and how much, it even shows how much time they spend on one page, it's really interesting. So we do have that for sure. I will, and that goes into consideration with everything we're doing, but I'll share that for people that do like the numbers. I think it's fun to see.
When is the carry event?
Sure, that's a week from today. So it's next Wednesday at the Hotel Saranac from 5 to 6.
So in our marketing, do we put any effort into setting any distinction between the now public Franklin County Economic Development Office and using our logo along with tourism? Do we put any effort into bringing clarity to any confusion that might be bringing to the public? I just, it's been something I've been thinking about now that I've been seeing, public evidence of, the decision that was made.
Yeah, I don't know, that's a good question. I think it's something we should watch right now. I think that we're still in that phase where it's more brand awareness, the better. I think it's great when the county as a whole can all buy into like one messaging. It only helps amplify what we're all trying to do. But as far as like knowing who to contact about different things, when it gets down to that level of they want more information or who is doing what, then that will be really important. But I mean, I think I see the Explore Adironic Frontier logo on some different things, and I'm like, it's becoming more and more recognizable, and it all kind of syncs for Franklin County in a positive way right now. But yeah, let's keep an eye on that, and I'll do some research into if there's ways for us to kind of make a clearer distinction while still celebrating the unity.
The point you made, Justice, though, is interesting because when we lost the tourism contract, there was some discussion on the board about what our responsibilities were in terms of marketing the county. It was like, and I think the points were made by a number of people on the board and staff that there really is integration between tourism and non-tourism based economic development. And as people, especially when you're thinking about trying to build an entrepreneurial economy, and as people come to the area and are exposed to the attractions here, a lot of those visitors were hoping start asking the question about, gee, what would it take to live here? What could I do here? And what are the business opportunities that are here? What are the resources that can help me and my family settle in if we decided to make the move? So, they're going to be doing things. We're going to be doing things, and there is an integration of that. And hopefully, we'll be doing things that complement one another, and we'll get some good benefits out of this. And I think a lot of the work that we're doing here, frankly, is going to be supportive of the now county's effort to try to market the area for visitors too. So, we didn't shed all of our responsibilities in a sense, because a lot of that work really ties in with implementing our SEDS itself.
The audience and the approach to marketing is a little bit different between first or time or recurring visitor.
Right.
And some of the tactics that you use might be different and things like that.
Right.
So, the one thing about this is that we can just focus on what works for people who do have a little bit more interest in business or living here. And so that's what we're focused on. But to your point, Justice, there will be confusion, and that's unfortunate. And I hope that we get to the point where we can try to see if there's a way to limit that in conversations with the county. But in the meantime, we're just gonna charge forward, doing our best to get the word out and making sure people know who we are and what we do. And hopefully it doesn't cause so much confusion when someone's trying to figure out who can help them or assist them with their business need, that they get frustrated.
Yeah. I appreciate Kelly's positive spin on like the popularity, getting name recognition. That's a great thought. I mean, obviously to me, it was, and putting so much effort into trying to unify economic development in the county, to a place where people can call and get their answers. It definitely feels like a step back, but And that's kind of what prompted my question is how can we be, I don't know, proactive and, adjust, and I appreciate your thoughts.
So I think we're not that anyone would do this. It's more, things are a lot more digital these days. But you can think of a very simple example where somebody went into the courthouse to the through the main entrance, and the security officer helped them to get where they were going, and they said, I want to go to the economic development office, the Franklin County Economic Development Office, because I want to get assistance. Where would the security officer send them? Like, how would he know where to send them? Because there are 2 Franklin County Economic Development offices on the 4th floor of the county courthouse. It's no fault of the person looking for help, no fault of the security officer. But, and again, I'm just sharing that as a very simple example because no one comes in on 2 feet anymore. They reach out and try to find information in other ways. But I think that's one of the reasons you asked that question, Justice, and it's an important thing for us to keep working through.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think it's important that we keep it in mind and try to bring clarity where we can. When it was done, I was under the impression that it was just used as they had to use that term to get a tourism office, but now I'm seeing it public and connected with, people in the community and so forth. And I was just curious, like, how can we, obviously I'm for unity, but how can we maintain our role and professionalism, honestly, as an agency and serve the county most of all.
I think if there's one thing the county could do, very simple, that would be of help to us, would be to call, and I think it would help them too, to say, we have an Office of Tourism, period. It's not an Office of Tourism and Economic Development. And that would bring some clarity to it. And the second thing, and this is my hope, is that when somebody walks in to talk to Phil Hahn, because they made the mistake of walking into what they thought was the Office of Economic Development for the county by visiting him, then he would have the wisdom to say, look, I'm the tourism director for this county, but if you really want to talk economic development beyond tourism, you really should go down and talk to the Economic Development Corporation down the hall.
Yeah.
And those are 2 simple things. And if we could, each of us, perhaps within our own legislative districts, impress upon our own legislators that that's the right way to go, as well as in any conversations with Donica saying, I think that would do a lot to bring us forward.
Thank you.
Could I real quick, just Russ, can you get on the call real quick or on the Zoom?
Second.
Just wanted to bring up real quick one of the flyers that was done.
Oh.
You-
Sorry, one more?
No, thanks.
Kelly mentioned it, but Russ has been working on updating our flyers for Chattagay Business Park and for Bombay. So we can send these off to everybody, but just real quick, we could bring it up.
Yeah, so here is, so we have 2 flyers that we've done. These are still kind of in draft form, but we're close to finalization. You can see some of the drone shots that we had done last fall, which give a great representation of the property that we have and kind of the landscape that it's in. And just kind of, it's just meant to be kind of a brief overview of the property kind of its main features so that we can start a conversation with people that can help kind of break down more about what their interests are, what their needs are. But the flyer also has distances to major markets or points in the region that somebody might be interested in knowing, how close it is to Montreal or Valley Fields or highways, that sort of a thing. So I have those distances and times in here because I get questions about that. And then there's links so people can get to the county website easily, and the parcel data so they can look that up on the county website and find additional information. And then about utilities, features of the property, et cetera. And then some of our partners that we work with that help us with site selection or questions about like Canada-US trade or other incentives that are available on the state level. So those links are right there so people can easily access that information and contact us for more information as they need.
Great.
Where are these flyers? Like, how are they distributed?
Well, I just finished
Or will they?
draft, a couple days ago, but
Yeah.
they will be on the website. And then we get occasional site selection requests from ESD or other people who are looking for properties. So we'll be able to respond to these by email. And again, they'll be available on the website in our property section.
I do just want to point out that all of the properties and business parks are owned by the IDA. I know we're in the EDC meeting, but I just want to make sure you all know it's the IDA that owns all of these parcels.
Yeah, idea, right?
Yep.
Okay, great. So Kelly, anything else that you had on the list that we didn't get to?
I don't think so.
Any other questions for Kelly? Yeah.
No, not here.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. That takes us to resolution 2022-16. Authorize employee travel and training. The first and a second to bring that to the table.
I will make a motion to bring it resolution 2022-16 to the table.
Second.
I'll second it.
All right, go ahead, Jeremy.
This resolution is so that Rachel can attend the basic economic development course. It's being sponsored by the New York State Economic Development Council. That's a council that we are members of. Every year they provide this, they do this basic economic development course. I've done it, Russ has done it, I did it a long time ago. It's a 3 or 4 or 3.5 day crash course in the basics of economic development. So they go through, they touch on everything. And it's kind of the foundation course. And then after that, if you stay in the profession, there's many other specialized courses you can take. This is the foundation. So they offer it every year. It's always in Albany. And in accordance with our recently updated policy for travel and training, overnight training needs to be approved by the boards. So the not to exceed cost of $1,600 would cover, I think, 3 nights at the hotel, her mileage, registration, and the meals that are not, I think lunch is covered, but is part of the training. But it would also cover, I think, breakfast and dinner. She's excited to go.
Good.
Jeremy, in the past, wasn't Franklin County the case study example when we went?
Yes.
Huh.
Not when I went, but yeah, when you went.
When I went.
So how do you feel this will best impact Rachel? Like what tools will this give her?
one thing is the networking, because, there'll be 30 other folks from around the state, not just the state. Sometimes you have others coming from elsewhere, because this is a course that's applicable across the country. And there's just that kind of camaraderie and networking that comes from people that are in similar business that's helped me over the years. And it also, it just helps you understand the basics of like the different components of economic development, whether it's business attraction, which is what or marketing, which we talked about, business retention and expansion. And then they do get into how these other elements that are used to be kind of more separate from economic development are now becoming part of it. Community development related things, they touch on workforce development and the basics. So it doesn't turn you into an expert, but it gives you kind of a foundation for how it works. And it's not specific to New York State, but because it is in New York State, they do give a little bit more focus on the nuances of how things work. They have various speakers, like during the week, different presenters will come and do different parts of it. And she's shown so much competence in her project management skills, but in moving some things along, but she's genuinely interested in it and in the community and in Franklin County. And so I had suggested that she might be interested, and she thought it looked great as far as the agenda. So I really think it'll help her get a better base of how things work in New York State, or as the case might be, don't work, because we all know there's things that don't work here. So she might as well learn what doesn't work.
I think it's an excellent opportunity for Rachel or anybody to go to a conference such as this and learn what they've got to offer as far as programs, and also the relationships and what they share with other people from other agencies. Oftentimes that is one of the big pluses for a gathering like this. And the opportunity and the benefits are only doubled when the individual comes back and shares what has been learned with the board, and keep us abreast of what's going on.
Good.
That's a good suggestion. I'll have her do that. Provide some sort of report out on her. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Thank you. Great. We have first and a second. Maria, can you do a roll call?
This is for resolution 2022-16, authorizing employee travel and training. Sherry Boye,
Yes.
James Ellis is absent. Stephen Ehrman,
Yes.
Madeline Fleury,
Yes.
Justice Martin,
Yes.
Archie McKee.
Yes,
Resolution is adopted.
Okay, very good. Okay, let's take a look at resolution 2022-17, authorizing execution of a lease amendment. The first and the second to bring this to the table.
Steve will move.
I will second. Archie?
Okay.
As
Okay,
you
go
know,
ahead.
Yeah, we rent space at 75 Main Street in Saranac Lake. As you know, this is temporary space as we wait to hopefully move into more permanent space on Broadway in a couple of years. In the meantime, it's worked out well for us. It's not ideal, but it's worked out well. And especially from say now until October, the how many square feet we have right now is too small. So been working with the landlord. They have a plan to provide a hallway between what we currently rent and additional space on second floor space on the other side of the building, which would, I think, more than double, well, probably about double what we would have access to. And so we had a one-year lease last year with the ability to extend. But what is in front of you, I provided you the original lease and then a proposed amendment that would incorporate this new space and the new rent. There was a few different, there's some work that has to be completed by the landlord, and that's highlighted in the amendment language as far as what would have to be completed prior to us actually executing the lease, which is actually making the connection, doing some finished work, updating a couple of things that are not up to snuff. We originally budgeted for this year, we budgeted $1,500 a month in rent. So this still comes in within budget and help us spread out a little bit and have more variety of spaces available for people to use when they come in.
This is the old bank, correct?
Yep,
So right now you only use the front of it?
we use, yeah, Sherry, you remember this. So on the left-hand side where the big brick wall is the Adirondack Loon Conservation rents the bottom floor where the actual bank lobby was.
Oh, okay.
We use the upstairs to the right, which is where formerly was the Saranac Lake Voluntary Health Association. And then above where the bank, or behind and above where the bank lobby was, there's two large spaces. But they're actually separate buildings. So this would make a connection between those two spaces. So that's one space for us.
Current amount we're paying for that space, for the existing space is
$500.
$500.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll, like revenue from the space, do we have any idea what we're generating or what we will be?
It's really hard to say what we will be with the updated space. I don't have it in front of me. I can do a new, it's been a while since I provided the board a report on what the revenue is. But basically so far, and I would not promise this for this summer with how much the rent is. But so far, we cover ourselves for about 3 or 4, or exceed expenses for 3 or 4 months a year, but we don't break even during the year. And that's a couple of things to keep in mind. One is a chicken and egg thing where we don't do a lot of active promotion for memberships. Because in the summertime, we can't accommodate people and give them the experience that they want based on the number of customers we have coming through, because it's too busy. And the other part of it is we use this as our southern office, so we can expect that there would, just like when we were at our former location alone, there's just an expense with having that. So by having the 2 spaces, using it as the carry in as our office, we've got those expenses, but to date, we've never felt like we had to have them break even. We're hoping with the new space, we can have additional people who like it and want to rent on an annual basis or more frequent basis.
The way it's currently laid out, just the 2 rooms that we have, it makes it a kind of an undesirable, if we're having meetings in the back or using that as our own office space, it kind of makes it undesirable to be an outsider renting a space in there. It's not easy to have any separation, the way I see it. And I think the additional space, I think I understand how that layout is or could be. It could give us an opportunity for someone to rent and feel like they have a little more privacy anyway. At least people aren't walking through their space on their way to the back room where we hold our meetings.
There's actually 2 spaces. The front space, there's 2 parts of the new space. The front will actually have cubicles in it. So there's semi-privacy. And the back will be a much larger conference room. And then the part that we currently rent will largely remain as it is.
So I think it gives us something we actually could market and probably take in some additional revenue over what we're getting with the existing space. It's more desirable space by my recollection. I know about it because we were at one point walking through and we had a pitch we were making to Key Bank to sell us the building at a very low price. And so there was some touring that took place, and I got to have the advantage of walking through it at that point.
Oh, I was gonna say, is this now, I'm kind of confused, because is this the new build or renovated? Okay, so this is like the interim?
An interim, yes, exactly.
Okay,
Which is why it's a 1-year lease with the ability to extend. And they understand that. They know that as far as a permanent location, they know this is not for us. It's not, it doesn't have an elevator. I mean, this can't be a long-term solution for us. And they know that. So we're trying to grow and expand, but without committing until we can really go to the ideal new space.
Will we need to continue to use the room you're in now for our meetings? If we go ahead and rent?
Well, the reason we started using this space was so that we could provide an accessible location for our meetings. Because this is we're in the basement of the hotel, but you can walk straight in from the parking garage, or there's an elevator right around it. And so as an accessible space, especially for Jim, who's been having some mobility challenges, we wanted to be able to have a space here for him to get to. So this fits for that. That's the only reason we're here.
And our meetings are advertised as public meetings.
Yeah.
So if we had a member of the public that wanted to go here and they had an issue when it came to being in a wheelchair or something, they can get into this room. They could not get into the carry.
Right. And we've always been covered when we do these dual locations because the courthouse is accessible.
Right.
Right.
But we're trying to do our best until we can. And I mean, again, that's like I'm glad you asked that question, Madeline. That's why this space wouldn't work as a permanent location, because we need to have a higher idea, which is
So-
the other place would.
I have a couple other questions. So is the carry going to be used as the area where the employees are actually going to work at? I mean, because is everybody still remote, or or is it gonna be utilized as office? Is that gonna be, people gonna be showing up there for their job every day?
It always has been an office. Yeah, and I would say that we're all in a hybrid mode. All of us are coming in or at home during the week. And so I go to the carry, I come up to Malone, I go to the carry, I'm at home. And we have access to a printer there and the conference space where we'll meet with people. And so that's always been the case and that will continue. One of the issues we had in the summertime though, is we had to kind of stay away a little bit more just because of how busy it was. So it's actually more usable as office space in the off season than it was during the height of the summer in July and August, because it was so busy.
So the other question I have is, who manages the people who are renting the space in the summer? How does that happen?
Question, you want me to answer that? Or you want to?
Yeah, I don't know, we can both share it, it's, how much do you know about it, Madeline? So a
Not
lot of.
much.
Okay, so, have you ever been to the space?
No.
No, okay, so the exterior door, so downstairs is the Loon Center. So, and the carry is upstairs. So the building is open, the main door of the building is open regular business hours. But it has a lockbox next to the door. So users, if they know about it ahead of time, can go to the Carry website and reserve a space and pay, and it's all done online. If somebody's walking down the street and they see the sign that says the Carry co-working space and they're interested in stopping in and going there to work instead of like the coffee shop next door, they can do that too and just go right in. And we have plenty of signage that gives the instructions of how they register online and pay for the space. I do check the back end of that system daily to see how many people are using it, and if the payment was entered correctly and it went through, or if there's any issues, which there have been, where someone will send a message and say, or send me an email or call and say, I'm trying to reserve the space and pay and something's not working, if it's a systems glitch, and we take care of that. So that's all kind of been working very well and seamlessly. If they want to use the space after business hours, we do provide the code to the lockbox. So it is open, 24/7, that they could have access to it. We do have a sign-in sheet in the office that people can use. I think it's nice to have both of them right now, where they do it online and pay online, but having them sign in just so we can have, double check or have eyes on who's using the space. Like Jeremy said, I'm there often, he's there often. We have the copier there and it's a really nice work environment. The only time really that I'll leave and happily leave is if it's that busy, that it's getting used that much and we're generating that much revenue from it. I can go find somewhere else to work. But so those are good days when we see that happen. And it usually starts around this time of year and we'll go to, early fall, and it gets very busy. And a lot of it is, I think still typically a lot of it is either people that are vacationing here, have a second home here, or are doing like remote work here and they need a secure and stable internet connection.
And you have security in there? We spoke of that at the other carry. Cameras.
Yeah.
We don't have any cameras in there yet.
For some reason I thought they did.
When somebody registers to use the room, do they put down how many people, like what keeps them from bringing a team in and taking up the room. I mean, I just curious, how that, is that monitored in any way?
That hasn't been an issue yet. They reserve the space per desk per user. So the
Okay.
only time where it's multiple people will be if they're reserving the conference room. And then that's a different rate that we charge for that. Yeah, I think one of the ways that we could generate more revenue is that conference rooms is offering a conference room. That's like, there's a need for that here. And that space fits 8 comfortably, right? But that's about the max. But we've had inquiries where different organizations or, groups want to do a work training or something, and we're looking for a space that fits more like 20 people. And they'd be willing to pay for that, but there just isn't that around. So this expansion could offer that. The other thing that we do here as far as the security, I hadn't heard about the cameras, which is always like, I think there's definitely a way for camera placement where it wouldn't be intrusive, but it could monitor people coming and going. But people have inquired if that we had lockers or something available there where they would feel comfortable. It's something I totally missed because I'm more comfortable leaving my stuff if I step out for 20 minutes, but I realize some people aren't comfortable doing that or familiar doing that. So having like something where they could lock up their laptop in a bag if they were going to step out for lunch. So as far as when you said security, it made me think of that. And I think there is, and that comes with the expansion as well, as maybe a place where, it is more private and secured, where the idea of a co-working space is having somebody sitting right next to you, doing their own thing. But we do see that, people want a little privacy. The cubicles, we get asked about a lot, if you had more of a cubicle, which is counterintuitive to a co-working space. You think of it just being wide open and everyone kind of like collaborating, but.
They're already there, but there's the bank left cubicles with the building. And so we're gonna be using, I think we have enough left over, and they're decent condition, they're pretty nice. Cubicles to put together and put up in the front part of it.
What, to rent this additional space, will there be, more cost to us as far as furniture and, dressing it out? Do you have any idea what that is?
We're working on that. We're gonna move the stuff that's in the current conference room to the new one and add, I think, 1 set of tables because it can be bigger. And then we've started working on what it would take to add furniture for where the cubicles are going. We don't have that quite figured out yet. We need to use the same supplier that we used before. It comes under state contract pricing, and it's a MWBE supplier.
Now, do you have somebody who cleans the place? Like, I'm sure there's restrooms and all of that. Is there like a janitor and all that comes with the lease, or is that? You're
The janitors.
Yeah, you're
Oh
looking at-
my gosh, okay.
And if I'm getting this right too, once we give up this temporary space and we have the space in the new Cary building, the new the loft development, we have that first floor basement, whatever we're getting. All the furniture that we end up buying, all our furnishings, that's all going to get relocated to that building, and that would be the permanent space. So nothing that we're talking about now really is going to end up being purchased and then given up to anybody else. It's something invested in for the future. I think that's an important point to make.
Yeah.
What happened to that huge table we had on Elm Street? Is that still there?
Hopefully. I don't think I'd want to try to get it out of
I
there.
can't come out of the building. Paul Cantwell used to tell the story that it had to be built inside there. There's no way
Wow.
that was gonna be there forever.
Oh, I thought they built the building around that table.
Paul Cantwell story for sure.
Mike Moe steam shovel.
Yes.
Just show.
Take us back, right?
Oh, okay.
That'd be a good spot for a carrier.
So as far as something temporary in Saranac Lake that would be wheelchair accessible to rent, there's nothing.
There
Nothing.
was one, I did look at a couple of different options, but they would take more renovation costs and longer to do, and the rent would be $1,000 more. And they wanted a multi-year lease,
Hmm.
which we don't want to do. And so that
Because
was,
we're on the topic of the carry, I know we had talked about one in Malone as well. Has there been any more talk of that?
yes, yeah, we were looking at a couple of spaces, one in particular. Rachel and Russ have been working on it a little bit. And we're trying to get some information together to share with the board. And I think it would be, I don't know exactly how to do this yet, but I think it's a space that would work very, very well for us, which we can describe when we give you an update. But, and we don't have any sense of cost yet. That's why I haven't brought it to you guys yet. It is divided up into two phases. One is some office space, and then next to it would be the co-working space. They'd actually be able to be separate, but next door to each other. And what we want to do is get some better costs for that and what it would take to fit out both. And what I want to do is figure out how we can do ourselves the office component, but then go seek funding for the co-working part, so that we're not taking on all that cost at once. So yes, we are working on it.
Okay, so we had a first and a second. Any other questions or discussion before we do a roll call? And I'd love to see a report sometime, Jeremy, on, what kind of.
I got it written down. It's a good reminder.
Thank you.
Yeah. And same with the cameras. I think Kelly's right. There's probably a way to do it that space that's non-obtrusive, but it allows us to know what's going on.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
pretty simple.
So we'll do both of those things.
Okay, go ahead, Maria, with the roll call.
Okay, this is for resolution 2022-17, authorizing execution of a lease amendment. Sherry Boye,
Yes,
Jim Ellis is absent. Stephen Erman,
Yes,
Madeline Fleury,
Yes.
Justice Martin,
Yes.
Archie McKee.
Yes,
Okay, resolution is adopted.
Okay, very good. Date of next meeting is June 8, 2022. If you talk to Jim, tell him we missed him,
I will.
or reach out to him. I'll try to do that. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
I will make a motion to adjourn. No
Very good.
hesitation.
All right.
A second, Steve.